Chaos in Australian Parliament, as MP Dutton produces lump of uranium as prop. China checks ballast water on Japanese ships amid Fukushima row. AMP chief economist Shane Oliver declares that high immigration is to blame for Australia's housing crisis and warns numbers need to be capped now, before it's too late. Former IMF director Carlo Cottarelli comments on immigration into Italy, imitate Australia model. Ottawa forecasts 1.4 million international student applications a year by 2027, document shows. PayPal rolls out PYUSD stablecoin to Venmo users. $10,000 bill from Great Depression era sells for $480,000 at auction.
Taylor Swift's call to action drives 13,000 people every 30 minutes to voter registration site. Estepinha, the most famous pet influencer in Brazil, dies at 14.
Biden uses executive power to create New Deal-style American Climate Corps, a jobs program to address climate change. Biden's new Climate Corps will train thousands of young people. In Australia, former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg won't run in Kooyong at next election after Goldman Sachs appointment. California is engaged with the world's largest dam removal project, in hopes of letting nature rebound, as $500 million dam removal, restoring river, that local tribes call our church, is the biggest in U.S. history. Pentagon to restore honor to veterans, whom kicked out over their sexual orientation.
Netanyahu and Biden set to discuss Saudi deal at UN meeting in New York, amid major anti-coup protest. Bibi says to Biden, Palestinians can be part of Saudi mega deal, but can't have veto power. Saudi Crown Prince MBS says, we will get nuclear weapon, if Iran does. In Germany, Hanover plans car-free city center, by 2030. 98% of EU urban population exposed to harmful air, per report of EEA, the European Environmental Agency. Also WHO reports 9 out of 10 people worldwide breathe polluted air. Longest prison sentence in Germany ended, after 53 years from detention. Call Me By Your Name Oscar-nominated songwriter, Sufjan Stevens shares paralyzing Guillain-Barré syndrome diagnosis. Tether makes a $420 million bet on cloud GPUs, as Tether acquires 20% stake of German Bitcoin miner, Northern Data. Taiwanese laptop maker Asus is moving its key supplier from China to India.
3 dead, 5 rescued in South African Navy submarine disaster off Combat G, Cape Town, after they are swept off a submarine deck during supply operation. Chinese balloon downed in February over U.S. was not collecting intelligence, says U.S. Joint Chief of Staff Milley. Los Angeles Rams NFL team trade Cam-Akers to Minnesota Vikings. Turkey national football team part ways with German coach Kunz. 476,000-year-old, the oldest wooden structure unearthed on border of Zambia and Tanzania. Mutilation of tree of life. Human activity wiped 71 branches of species from Earth 35 times faster than expected.
India, not surprised by Canadian allegations, says Pakistan official. India suspends visa services in Canada as rift widens over killing. Ride-sharing company Uber says, EU rules will see us pull out of hundreds of European cities, as Uber predicts 40% price hikes, under EU gig worker law. Germany has reached a limit on migration, says German President Steinmeier. Poland says Europe will become Lampedusa, slams EU relocation scheme. The 9 million resident mark exceeded in Switzerland. Russia's State Duma says it would eventually fight out post-Soviet states. Poland no longer arming Ukraine, says Polish PM. A federal agency wants to give safety tips to young adults, so it's dropping an album. Airbnb says it's cracking down on fake listings, and has removed 59,000 this year.
U.S.-funded clinical phase 1 trial of HIV vaccine begins in the United States and South Africa. In Portugal, Tarcísio government vetoes HPV vaccination project in schools. Mississippi sees tenfold increase in babies born with syphilis since 2016.
Google sued for negligence after man drove off collapsed bridge while following map directions. Milwaukee Brewers pitcher J.C. Mejia has received a 162-game suspension without pay after testing positive for stanozolol, a performance-enhancing substance. Murdoch compared to mafia boss, ordering head in Smartmatic case. Korean media regulators' one-strike policy for fake news denounced as censorship. Study finds dopamine regulates decision thresholds in human reinforcement learning in males. Consistently working in an occupation with intermediate or high occupational physical activity was linked to an increased risk of cognitive impairment.
Study suggests greater the ultra-processed food intake, particularly artificial sweeteners and artificially sweetened beverages, greater the increased risk of depression. Study confirms there is a higher risk of inflammatory bowel disease in patients, children and adults with atopic dermatitis.
Apple France workers call strike ahead of iPhone 15 launch. Ryan Reynolds to receive Robin Williams' Legacy of Laughter Award. BlackRock strategists downgrade China stocks on growth concerns. US home insurance bubble closer to popping as climate risks mount.
U.S. Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged at 22-year high, signals one more hike in 2023. Federal Reserve's FOMC committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 5.25 to 5.5%. The committee will continue reducing its holdings of Treasury securities and agency debt and agency mortgage-backed securities, as described in its previously announced plans.
Thailand will grant 5 months visa-free travel right for tourists from China and Kazakhstan from September 25, 2023, onwards. Thailand received over 19 foreign tourists as of September in 2023. Almost 400,000 Brazilians live legally in Portugal, consisting 40% of the foreigners.
UK fails to prosecute any China spy suspects. Recently it has been reported that Chinese spies headhunting key figures in UK government, military and industry, by PM Office, the number 10 Downing Street. And, UK man, accused of spying for China in Parliament, said he's innocent. French journalist released after arrest for reporting on France's role in the Egyptian spy operation. The Taiwanese are worried that the US will abandon Ukraine, as it had been speculated that the U.S. election may well decide the fate of Ukraine, Taiwan and the rules-based international order. Volodymyr Zelensky, in UN showdown, calls for stripping Russia of veto power and calls for permanent seat for Germany in the UN Security Council.
Toyota shows its own Gigapress that cuts EV production from hours to minutes. Recently Tesla had made an announcement on its Gigapress advancement. China exports zero germanium and gallium in August as national security curbs bite. South Korean police accuse 17 U.S. soldiers with drug crimes, smuggling and distributing synthetic marijuana, as South Korea raids U.S. military bases. In drugs probe, fentanyl plus stimulants, drives fourth wave of overdose epidemic. In the U.S., FTC says, parent can get refund for gears bought in Fortnite, without parents' consent. NFT crash renders 95% of digital collectibles worthless according to study. Criterion Games joins EA Entertainment. Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-account apparently hacked, as hackers claim. Ex-President Donald Trump is dead. On son's ex-account, ex-Trump aide, Cassidy Hutchinson claims Rudy Giuliani groped her, on January 6.
Elon Musk's Neuralink to recruit people with paralysis for first human trials of brain implants. 1 year ago, Elon Musk's Neuralink confirmed that monkeys died in project and denied animal cruelty claims. Also Elon Musk said, Neuralink tests only on terminally ill monkeys. Amazon brings generative AI to Alexa with launch of new smart speakers. Google refuses to bargain with workers, prompting YouTube music strike. Franzen, George R.R. Martin and John Grisham join 16 authors suing OpenAI for copyright violation. There is nothing fair about this. OpenAI unveils DALL-E 3, the latest version of its text-to-image tool.
The Signal protocol, used by 1+ billion people, is getting a post-quantum makeover. Signal announces the first step in advancing quantum resistance for the Signal protocol, with an upgrade to the X3DH specification, called PQXDH. With this upgrade, a layer of protection has been added against the threat of a quantum computer being built in the future that is powerful enough to break current encryption standards. Amazon unveils Zero Max 7, its expensive and the fastest Wi-Fi mesh system, promises zero-delay broadband. German cell phone and telephone manufacturer Gigasit is in bankruptcy. Google drops software support for Pixel 4a, just 3 years after its release, while the 5-year-old iPhone XR is receiving iOS 17 update. Android 14 adds support for using smartphones as webcams. Family told to leave their home every 8 minutes. In England, South Korean taxpayers declare $98.5 billion in overseas crypto assets. France is home to almost 3 million millionaires. According to UBS report, more dollar millionaires than in UK.
Rishi Sunak confirms he's delaying ban on new petrol and diesel cars and boosts boiler upgrade scheme. Labour will reinstate 2030 deadline for petrol and diesel car ban. London business chief slams Rishi Sunak's flaky fossil fuel car ban rollback.